Thank you for joining me on this fine afternoon, but let's get to the point on how Marius Petipa shaped ballet. Choreographed in words by Sophia Garris. But first, before we need to talk about how he shaped ballet, who was he? Victor Marius Alphonse Petipa was born on March 11, 1818 in Marseille, France. His father, Jean-Antoine Petipa, was a well-known ballet master and instructor, while his mother, Victorine Mariel, was a drama teacher and actress, known for her tragic roles. Both of his parents were working in Marseille at the time. While Marius was being born, a rehearsal was underway at the Marseille Opera House for his father's production of The Birth of Venus and Love by Jean-Baptiste Bach. So he grew up in a family of performers with a strong passion for making art. At the age of 21, he received his first employment and was appointed premier dancer at the Ballet de Nantes. He was engaged at Nantes for 3 seasons, and it was during this time that he first began to show his abilities as a choreographer. On July 16, 1840, that's when he made his professional debut as a choreographer when he presented a 2-scene ballet called The Scatterbrain. After mixed reviews on his ability to produce such a production, he continued to dance because it was the driving force for his passion. From going to different companies, bouncing around different theaters and countries, by the end of the season, however, only 8 months in the theater, Petipa was forced to join the stream of dancers leaving Bordeaux, his home theater at that time. On May 13, 1844, the theater enterprise was bankrupt. He was a decorated dancer who performed on stages in Paris, Russia, Spain, and New York. It wasn't until his later years that he contributed to making some of the most beautiful pieces known to ballet and to the contemporary world. The Pharaoh's Daughter, this choreography balanced dramatic themes with technically demanding classical dancing. The Pharaoh's Daughter, 1862, was Petipa's first substantial success amongst all of the great ballets he was to create as a choreographer for the Imperial Theater. Since his arrival in Russia 7 years earlier, he had co-produced numerous little stagings of Parisian ballets and created 6 original 1-act and 2-act ballets. But for his 7th original ballet, he wanted to take a bigger step into a genre that he would be distinctly associated with, the Grand Ballet. And The Pharaoh's Daughter was the perfect way to introduce himself to the world. The world was able to see him as a competitive with his rival Saint Leon. Although the ballet contained a few dramatic mime scenes, it was never meant to be this great work of serious drama. It was meant to be a highly entertaining, excessive spectacle, glitzy glamour, a little camp, and fun and exciting to watch because it took place in a distinct, exotic place. Don Quixote was the choreography that remains a favorite for showcasing a dancer's personality, virtue, and talent. Don Quixote was the first and the most famous of Petipa's grand ballets with a Spanish theme. Prior to Don Quixote, Petipa had created other short ballets with a Spanish theme, but this was his first grand ballet that really showcased his knowledge of Spanish dance and culture. Don Quixote was originally produced in a Ballet Theater of Moscow with a 4-act and 8th scene and was marked at the beginning of the collaboration between Petipa and Ludwig Minkus. Originally, he had another composer set to do the score for this production, but that composer wasn't able to come through, so that's when he met Minkus, who he first noticed when he did another collaboration. Minkus' score of Don Quixote certainly contains Spanish-themed melodies, but he never strayed away from keeping the music classical and traditional. And now, this production premiered on the 27th of December in 1869 and is still being showcased in numerous theaters around the world. La Bayadère, the Kingdom of Shade scene, is legendary for its precision and symmetry. This really showcased his ability to create hypnotic group movements like the photo presented here. This ballet is considered Petipa's most renowned and celebrated ballet sets in an exotic location. Taking place in ancient India, it reflects the 19th century ballet trends of Orientalism. This debuted in Paris in 1830, the Filipino Tangolini Le Duo de la Bédir. Petipa was very familiar with Indian-themed ballets as he had performed in Le Duo Bédir in Bordeaux, and his first wife Maria actually danced in the St. Petersburg revival. In La Bédir, Petipa incorporated details that invoked Indian settings while still inherently strictly sticking to classical ballet conventions. And at one point, he feared the ballet would not attract audiences because the director raised the ticket prices to adhere to the expensive Italian opera. Despite these challenges, Petipa and the composer Ludwig Minkus ultimately produced a powerful dramatic ballet with themes of love, betrayal, murder, and revenge, all set in this richly imaginative, dreamy foreign world. The Sleeping Beauty, my personal favorite, and Petipa's masterpiece. He constructed this ballet meticulously, working closely with Tchaikovsky to make this his best ballet yet. The Sleeping Beauty was the first collaboration of Petipa and Tchaikovsky. Although Tchaikovsky's first ballet, Swan Lake, had not been the success he hoped for, it did not end his career in composing for ballets. With Petipa working as choreographer, he and Tchaikovsky formed a great working relationship, which was far better than the one Tchaikovsky experienced with Julius Rezanier, who choreographed the first Swan Lake. Petipa wrote a detailed list of instructions, which Tchaikovsky appreciated because he had a set idea for what the ballet was supposed to evoke, what emotions were supposed to be shown. He worked quickly, and he began sketching in the winter of 88 and began orchestrating in 1889. Tchaikovsky would often visit Petipa at his home and play for him the music that he had composed, for which Petipa would give feedback. So the amazing work chemistry that they had really translated to the stage, and you can see the love that they put into this production. No side was lacking. Swan Lake. Petipa and Avona's revival in 1895 paired with Tchaikovsky's score, which made Swan Lake the masterpiece it is today. Tchaikovsky was excited to work with Petipa, as he said that he would no longer work with anyone else for ballets except Petipa. Unfortunately, Tchaikovsky died in 1893 before the production began. After his death, they had to get special permission from his brother Modest to continue the production. Petipa and Ivan choreographed the ballet, and Petipa handled Act 1, Scene 1 and 2, Scene 1 and Act 2, and Ivanova choreographed Act 1, Scene 2, and Act 3, and they split the Act 2 dances. Petipa created the Spanish dance in the Marzaka, and Ivanova did the Neapolitan dance in Ksadard. And soon after Petipa and Ivona's revival, it was all over the world, in New York, London, California, anywhere you can think, it was there. La Perla, an early success in Petipa's Russian career, blending mythology themes with classical techniques. The Pearl was created by Petipa and Ricardo Drigo in 1896 as a lavish peace offering to the gala given at the Imperial Bolshoi Theater of Moscow in celebration for the coronation of Tsar Nicholas II and Tsarina Alexandra Fyodorovna. Petipa's libretto in this ballet is based on the scenario of the dance Tableau La Perugina, Ballet de Reina, from Giuseppe Verdi's opera Don Carlos, which was never performed and has been choreographed by Petipa's brother Lucien. The cast of the premiere of The Pearl is actually featured some of the most highest-ranking dancers of both the Imperial Ballet in St. Petersburg and the Ballet of Imperial Bolshoi Theater of Moscow. So many talented dancers were involved in this production. Raimoda, Petipa's final major work, he created this in 1889, the year of his 80th birthday. He created this ballet to the music of Russian composer Alexander Golustovo. Raimoda was one of Petipa's last major successes, created during the peak of his career. This period marked by some of his most celebrated works, beginning with The Sleeping Beauty. During the later phase, Petipa began to shift from ballets and focused on deep storytelling and character development. Instead, he embraced large-scale, visually stunning productions. The influence of the Ballet Friere style, known for its magical themes and elaborate staging, became more prominent, and you can tell in his later works. The Nutcracker, Petipa's Love from a Distance. The Nutcracker was the third and final ballet to be composed by Tchaikovsky, and the second collaboration between the composers, Petipa and Ivan Balakovsky. Today, The Nutcracker is perhaps the most popular ballet in the world, but the nature of events during its creation and premiere were not like one would expect from this production. After such a rocky start to the creation of this ballet, rehearsals for The Nutcracker finally began, but in August 1892, Petipa withdrew from choreographer when he fell very ill and had to leave from the 1892 and 93 season. In the aftermath, his partner Veselovsky temporarily appointed Petipa's assistant, Lev Ivanov, as a ballet master to help choreograph The Nutcracker. And Enrico Saichiti was appointed second ballet master to Ivanov. It is unknown if Petipa managed to choreograph any steps or sequences for this ballet before his withdrawal, but it is certain that he had a hand in the libretto and the stage direction, which I feel like you can tell from the style and like I don't even know how to explain it, like the style and like the emotions that are portrayed in the characters. That is why I think Marius Petipa is so important to the world of ballet, because he transformed ballet into a highly respected and influential art form by shaping the foundation of classical ballet as we know it today. Through his innovative choreography, he elevated ballet from court entertainment to a full-length theatrical production which emphasizes technical precision, dramatic storytelling, and musical collaboration, especially with composers like Tchaikovsky. He worked primarily in Russia, but he made sure to blend French, Italian, and Russian styles to create a universal ballet language which trained generations of dancers and choreographers. He wasn't afraid to incorporate other cultures in his pieces because he saw all those cultures as beautiful and he wanted the world to see it too. His work also empowered female dancers by giving them central and technically demanding roles that he created specifically for the women who he knew were great and had beautiful art forms in a world where a lot of female performers were often shunned, and a lot of female dancers were not even allowed to perform, but he gave them that opportunity. His legacy continues to influence ballet schools, performances, and cultural identity of ballet around the world. And that's why I think he is still so important to this day. Thank you.